Welcome to Gumball Love. I'm Melissa Ledger, professional relationship coach, creator of Gumball Love and the Back to You Academy. If you're ready to stop the cycle of toxic men, get through the breakup once and for all, and finally get back to you, you are in the right place. This journey is about healing your heart, and you are encouraged to take the pace that is just right for you. In the process, you will build a foundation of confidence and strength that will make you unshakable, I promise. So get ready to level up your mindset and your lifestyle as you awaken the seeds of greatness just waiting to burst into full bloom. Let's do this. Welcome back to another episode of Gumball Love. I'm your host, Melissa Ledger. So today we're going to talk about, are you preventing love from coming into your life? This is going to be sort of a different angle at this, but I have been talking to many of you, some of my clients, some of you have been messaging me on Instagram about these relationships that are sort of kind of lukewarm. These guys that kind of come in and out, or you meet somebody new and you're really not sure where it's going. You're spending maybe 1, 2, 3 dates with this person, yet it's still kind of fuzzy on what's going on. And you feel like, well, I don't really want to ask, is this going somewhere? It's so early, yet you're still getting those mixed messages. But what I want you to be thinking about is this a good investment of my time? Do I feel good about where this is going? Is this feeling fun still? Is it exciting? Or am I still feeling like, I don't know if this guy likes me, he seems like he likes me, but I'm really not sure when we're going to hang out again. He goes days or a couple of weeks without talking to you, and you're still excited to see him again, yet you're allowing yourself to wait. And I want to ask you, why? Why are we waiting? And I can tell you why. Because you don't yet see yourself as worthy to ask, to demand. And I don't mean demand in a bitchy way. I mean just, hey, I don't want to waste my time. And you don't even have to say that. I want you to just be feeling like, okay, I like this guy, but I'm not getting consistency here. And you have to allow yourself also to evolve to the point where you feel this sense of confidence. You feel this sense of security in yourself and in your own life. So I'm going to walk you through how you do this, because entertaining these kinds of relationships is what keeps real love out of your life. Because these are guys that they want it, they flirt with it, they like you, they think you're beautiful, yet they have an issue that they haven't worked through yet. And so this process will constantly make you feel rejected. And that feeling of the unknown perpetually being there gets you in a low space. Does that make sense? Because on one hand, you've met somebody and you're excited. On the other hand, you still feel like there's something missing because you're not getting the level of response that seems like it should be leading somewhere. And so it keeps you in this low energy space. And what I also want to draw your attention to is dating these kinds of guys, entertaining these kinds of guys, it keeps your expectations low. We are literally accepting the bare minimum here. Instead, you need to be like, and here, you don't even need to be like anything. You can just not put any effort into guys that are doing that and really observe, how does this guy come into my life? What does he say? Does he make plans? Is he excited about his life? And also, part of the reason we can't see this is we're managing our life on our side, kind of, but we're sort of putting things on hold. when I coach many of you, and you know who you are, you're not really doing the things that you really want to do with your life. Like you kind of are, you've got the plan, but you haven't really pushed yourself out there to do that thing, to go back to school, to get that certification, to take the class that you've wanted to take. Like some of you really need to pursue an entirely different occupation. Maybe it requires some kind of a certification. It requires some kind of a training. And I see a lot of you guys sitting in this space of waiting, and I understand what that feels like. I sat in a space of waiting to move forward with my life. And you guys have heard me talk about how I was living a life that it wasn't even me. And I'm still in the process of getting to where I'm finally clicking into my highest self, where I really belong, the lifestyle that I've always known that I've wanted to live. And it's taken me a long time to get here. Well, I feel like a long time, but it wasn't really that long, but it was a few years because I was just, as I've told you, feeling my way through the dark. And I want to shorten that. I want to give you the express train to figuring this out and at least guiding you and helping you gain more confidence and making those decisions more quickly. Understanding that, yes, this guy is cute and he's fun to be with, but he's not worth putting your life on hold. He's not worth holding back who you are. If you feel like you can't be yourself or you can't say what you want to say or do what you want to do, if all of a sudden there's restrictions or you feel afraid to say, hey, I really like you, but you seem like you're a little hesitant. Are you hesitant? You seem reserved. You seem like you're holding yourself back. Don't say, I feel like I'm not sure if you like me. No. He likes you or you wouldn't be there. But you need to call it what it is. You seem like you're holding yourself back, like you're out here, you're dating, but you're not really 100% into it. That's a more secure response to a guy if you really want to test where he is. Be okay with testing him where he is, because if you test him where he is, I know it feels scary because even if it's in the very beginning, it's like, look, we get attached to people pretty quickly. We can spend a few dates and then we care if they like us or not. We care a lot sometimes, and that's okay. But I want you to also feel okay to really be asking yourself, okay, I like this guy, but am I getting what I should be getting on the other side? And if you don't know what you should be getting, then it's too early to be dating. And I know that sounds harsh, but we keep trying to go date when we're not secure yet. You got to get yourself rooted in your own life. So what does that look like? So number one, your home is your sanctuary. And I want you to really focus on creating the space that you love. And this isn't just like a weekend project, but I want you to maybe create a Pinterest board or put up a vision board of what you want your space to look like and just really start to explore. And we do a lot of this in the Back to You Academy, where we design our lives. We figure out, where are we going? What are we doing? What do we want? Because a lot of times we're halfway or a quarter of the way. I used to just barely even decorate. And it wasn't about the decorating. It was just that I wasn't expressing myself. I didn't even know who was under there. I didn't know what I really wanted. I had things I liked, but I was so afraid to even say the things I liked or buy the things I liked. I just stayed so safe and essentially boring, because I wasn't even really being myself or a person. I was being what I thought other people would want, or I was trying to fit a mold, and it doesn't work. So I really want you to focus on, like, when you create your sanctuary, and a lot of times I will tell you, on a budget, this can be just cleaning, organizing, and creating systems. I mean, I'm down to where I'm so annoyed at myself every time I go to dance. Like, I don't have a hair tie, and it's like, what's in my dance bag? I used to have it packed so great, but as I've danced over the past now almost 2 years, it's like I want different stuff in there. Now I want ankle weights in there. And now I have this band that goes around my legs so I can keep my legs closer together when I'm doing moves. And so it provides resistance. And then I want the weights so that I'm building my ankle strength. And there's just different things that I need in there. And so now I'm packing that bag differently. And that's a system that I need to have in place so that things are clean, that my shoes are packed away, and I have these things that keep them from smelling because dance shoes are stinky. There's like all these systems that I really want you to think about. What's your food prep system? I'm always evolving this. This weekend, I bought one of those big, huge glass pitchers with a spigot. And because I was like, I need to be drinking more lemon water. But why wasn't I drinking more lemon water? I was like thinking through a system because it's like I have to slice the lemon and squeeze the lemon. And then it's like pouring like all the lemon chopping, the squeezing. And that was like this task that I hated doing all the time because I did it for every glass of lemon water I made. So I thought, why wouldn't I make myself a fruit infused glass pitcher so where I can have like 2 days of water that is infused with lemon, and I just go there and push the spigot and I have my lemon water. So it's like there's another system in place so that I'm healthy, that I'm strong. So I want you to just look at everything you're doing and ask yourself, do I have a system, or am I always playing catch up? Am I always feeling behind? Am I behind on maybe my bills or your financial system? If life is sort of disorganized, I want you to give yourself the love to get that stuff in order and allow yourself a season to do it where you're not worried about a dating app, where you're just like, okay, I'm going to get myself to where I am A, happy, and B, not bored. Because boredom drives us to do things like download a dating app. It drives us to eat foods that we shouldn't be eating. It drives us to watch TV shows that we probably shouldn't watch. I can tell you that there's a very common theme within a lot of the girls I'm working with that we want to go back to the dating app because we get fidgety, right? We get what's the word? Anxious. We get anxious without a guy in our life because we feel like that part is missing. But then we get these guys in our lives that are kind of there, kind of not. And what this does, as I said to you before, is it makes you feel rejected all the time. And so it's like right in the period of growth, we're allowing this slightly negative energy. Like, yes, he brings positive things, but he also brings a sense of uncertainty. And so that will create self-doubt. Because if you feel like I'm not strong enough to resist this guy, and I can tell you, it's really hard. I will tell you, even me in my situation, like I have a lot of confidence, a lot of strength, but if I meet a guy that really gets my attention, this is hard to do. It is almost excruciating sometimes to resist this kind of guy and say, I'm not going to text him. I'm not going to reach out to him, and force yourself to do it. I had to do this last year. I had to force myself, and I was so proud that I did it. I mean, every time it's like, yep, I saw it. I saw who he was. I wanted him to be different, but I forced myself through it, and I got through it. Because I have to protect, I feel especially a responsibility to do this for you guys, because I can't be out there screwing up, and I'm not perfect. I've screwed up. Trust me. You guys, you know my stories if you're in the academy, where I've had times where I've entertained conversations and I've had to even apply my own content sometimes because we're human, right? We get caught up with these guys and we have to come back and remind ourselves that this is not going to, is this even leading anywhere? What is this doing for me? And a lot of times it's just that, somebody used an example. It was not related to dancing, to dating, but it was related to, when we need to rest and we're pushing ourselves. And it was actually my coach, Rachel Luna. She said, why would you take a vacation? Why would you plan a vacation with your car, or a long trip, not a vacation. Why would you plan a long trip when your gas tank is on empty and you know you only have 50 miles? If you knew you only had 50 miles, you wouldn't plan to drive 300 miles. You know you need to fill your tank. So the responsible thing to do is to fill your tank before you get on the road. So I want you to ask yourself, am I filling my tank? And maybe you might say, hey, I feel like I do a good job at work and my finances are in order and I'm going to the gym. But then I would ask you, do you feel sad? Do you feel like you're still lonely? And if you're feeling lonely, then the thing that's missing is not a guy. We have to figure out how to fill that loneliness without a guy, without an app. It's got to be something else. Because if you are dating when you are lonely, you will attract the wrong guy. You will actually block real love out of your life, because healthy people are not looking for lonely people. And if you think you're hiding your loneliness, if you think you can do your Kim Kardashian smoky eye and put your cute outfit on and hide that, you are not hiding it. Trust me. I have really seen this as I have grown. Man, I can even look back to videos and watch myself and go, wow, I can just see that insecurity coming through a mile away. And I realize, whoa, healthy people, secure people can see that so easily. It's effortless to see insecurity when you have surpassed that level. So when you're out with a guy and you're like, I don't understand what happened. He can see who you are, and he can see that you're a good person, but he can also tell that you're going to be too clingy and needy because you haven't done the work. And it's very obvious. So we're so tempted to read these articles that say what men want, and here's the top 10 things you need to do. But those things are for gumball guys. Almost all dating advice out there is all to how to manipulate and control a gumball guy. Say this, create the chase, don't do this, how to text him. Are you being boring with your text? You will not be boring if you've done the work on yourself, you've gotten past the loneliness, you do the self-care, you get your life in order, then you will attract somebody that is, because essentially you become an alpha, right? Alpha dog, alpha female, alpha male. Every one of us should be alphas. There is no non-alpha in a marriage, because you cannot have someone who's dominating the other. It has to be equal. Same thing in the wolf pack. Female wolf, male wolf, both alphas, raising alpha children. So don't ever think that, well, I'm just looking for the alpha because I'm the submissive, beta, whatever. No, you need to become an alpha. You need to be strong and independent by yourself and not need him to fill a loneliness void. We cannot be out there filling voids, because it kind of becomes like a gumball. The date becomes the sugar high, and it fills the void temporarily. But then when he disappears, we question our value again. And then you're trying to grow, but then you're putting yourself where you're questioning your value. And that questioning yourself is what you don't have time to do, is what's holding you back. It's delaying the process. And it's also preventing you from living your life right now, because I don't know when you're going to meet a guy. I coach women. They meet a guy in 3 months, 6 months, 1 month. Sometimes it just happens so fast. Like they come into the academy, they get what they needed. Sometimes a light goes on and they meet somebody right away. Some girls have been working for 6 months or 8 months because that's their journey. So whatever that is for you, I don't know. I can't answer that question, but I need you to say, I'm ready for that, whatever it is, because I want to be ready for the greatest love of my life. I want to be ready for it. I want to be open to it. I want to be ready to accept it. Because if we stay with these guys that keep us in this low energy, we are never going to even think or be able to receive the real thing, because the real thing is huge. It's so overwhelmingly beautiful and wonderful. I just coached Emily the past year, and she's been dating her guy for, I believe now they're at 6 months, and they are madly in love. And we had such a beautiful conversation this week. I messaged you guys on Instagram stories about how wonderful it was. She said, hey, can we do a catch-up call? And you know what the call was about? She was like, wow, Melissa, it was like, is this real? I feel like she's like, I'm still at this point where I can't believe this is real. He's there for her. He cares for her when she's sick. He's just like, he doesn't have to go on dates if she's not feeling well, or, you know, they're both figuring out like, hey, I'm a homebody, so am I. He doesn't care what they're doing as long as they're together. She doesn't care what they're doing as long as they're together. It's so foreign to her, yet she has allowed herself to start receiving it. And we cried together because it was so beautiful to tell her, continue to accept this love, because this is the real deal. And it's so huge. It's overwhelming her. But she did the work ahead of time. Had she not done that work, she wouldn't have been ready for him. So I'm telling you, like, and you know what she did? We met. We had to go through the ex. The ex had to get out of the picture. Finally, we got to the point where we blocked him. And I want you to know, if you work with me, I get that. I don't care if it takes us a year to block him. I am on board with you for whatever it takes, because if you say I'm still texting him, I don't know. There's something, I was called to do this. So I'm never like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're still texting him. I never think that. So if you work with me and you're like feeling embarrassed, I am the last person you should feel embarrassed in front of, because there is something that hooks us with these different guys. And so that's part of me working with you, is we work on unhooking those prongs that are into you that you feel like you can't get rid of. And finally, she did it. She got to a point where she blocked him. Then she started focusing on her own life and her work and her health. And it didn't take very long. And she met her guy. So she did it in her own timing. But I'm telling you, even doing the work, real love overwhelmed her like a huge ocean wave. And it's stunning her right now, because she's like, whoa, I didn't expect this. And I was thinking, I know, because what you've been getting is such a knockoff fraud version that the real thing is like, OMG. And you know, it's not romance. It's not schmoopy. It is like, this dude is here for me. She's going through some health challenges, and this guy is like coming through like a champ. And I told her, you know, people have terminal illnesses and they meet people and that person stays with them till the end. I mean, she's not terminally ill, but I'm just saying, like, I'm like, so she's like, why is this guy being so great? And I was like, because he loves you. That's why he's being so great. And he's being so great, it's because it's who he is. Not that you have to do things for him to get him to do that. This is what our culture teaches us. Do this, then the guy will do this for you. But if you don't do it, then he's not going to blah, blah, blah. Ugh, I want to wring everyone's neck that gives that advice, because it's just BS. No. If you meet a quality person, they do not need you to do certain things and text certain things and say certain things and juggle all these balls, and then and only then they will come through for you. No, that's not how it works. Because is that how it works for you? Do you need people to do certain things and text you certain things in a certain way, and then that prompts you to act a certain way and love them so deeply and so amazingly because they've triggered that one thing that's deep inside? It's like, come on. I don't know how these people get away with it, but I'm here to debunk it all. And I have this like extra anger about it, because I'm going to start really teaching you about the lies that are being told to us as women by dating gurus and quote unquote experts just because they're men. It's like, just because you're a man with one penis one penis does not speak for all the penises. It's like you have one opinion as one man, but you do not speak for all men, because this man and so many good quality men are just like you, a great quality woman, and you would be there for him just like he would be there for you. I told her, she was just like, oh my gosh, I'm so overwhelmed. I'm like, well, if the tables were turned, would you do the same thing? And she was like, 100%. I'm like, I know, because that's who you are. And that's why he fell in love with you, because he sees who you are and he sees your heart. You guys will fall in love with you for your heart, for who you are, for your mind, how you think, how you love animals, how you love your grandma, your mother, your father, your cousins, your kids, how you love your fish, whatever. If you have fish, I have fish. I love my fish. I just clean their fish tank and it always makes me so happy. But you know what I mean? It's like everything about you is so lovable. And then we're spending time with some guy that's like, I've been super busy lately and it's like, screw that guy. It's like, he's not ready. I don't even care what his issues are. It's like, we're not available for that. You go on a couple of dates, like, hey, are you there? Are you in there? Hello? No, you're not. You're kind of like, you're here and you're having a good time, and then something happens. I don't know what happens, but it's like, it has nothing to do with you. But you know what? Do you really know that it doesn't have anything to do with you? Or do you analyze your outfit and wonder if you had too much cleavage that night, or if you wore the wrong lipstick or lip gloss or whatever? You know what I mean? Like, this is what we do to ourselves, because the guy shows up and he has the right outfit and the right demeanor, but then he doesn't have anything backing it up. He knows how to present the facade, but he doesn't have any, meat behind it. So we have to look at that at face value and go, okay, if I had a good time, great guy, good potential, no follow through. No follow through is huge, because it says a lot of other stuff. Like, can you count on him? Not really. So if you need him to show up somewhere, maybe he comes, maybe he doesn't. This isn't a husband. I mean, I want you to know, if you're looking for a husband, you need somebody who is absolutely solid, who shows up consistently, that never, when you meet the right person, you will never guess for 1 second who he is. Because when I'm working with you girls, I don't guess who you are. Every single girl that books an appointment with me, she shows up. And if she can't show up, she messages me immediately. You're good people, because you can't stand me if you're not. Because this content is so like real and in your face and up in your grill and like, ugh, this is the truth. But you come to me when you're done with all the BS and blah, 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 and you're on the email list of all these dudes telling you what men want, and you're like, this ain't working. So you're here because this is like, oh, dang. And it's tough to hear, and you don't like it, but then you do like it, because I'm not BSing you. I'm telling you the reality. So this is where I just want to shake some of you and make you realize how beautiful you are, how worthy you are, how valuable you are, what you bring to the table. I mean, you will clean up after grandma's dinner, and you'll stay there and talk to grandma and like make sure the counters are wiped down, and you'll talk to his mom, and you'll go to the funeral, and you'll go to the wake, and you'll be there, and you'll help, you'll do whatever needs to be done, because you're the wife, you're the family person. You're not in it just for the fun stuff. You're not there for the diamond ring and the fancy vacations. You're going to do the real stuff. You're going to bond with his kids. You're going to take care of his dog. You're going to do all the stuff. Speaking of dogs, my dog barks. I literally could not have planned that. You're going to take care of your dog. But you know what I'm saying? Like, that's who you are. And it's so freaking huge. Do you know how valuable that is? Every girl out there is not offering that. But you are. You are like the good stuff down to your toes. You've got the heart of gold. You've got so much to give, and you're already giving it, even from sometimes an empty tank, you're still over giving. So I don't want you to change that about yourself because you're a giver. But you're dating people that pull from that tank versus deposit. We have to start looking at, is this guy depositing anything? Is he depositing anything when we're not together? Or is he now pulling from me because he's ignoring me or being intermittent? Let's not lower our expectations in this area. Well, I mean, I know he's busy, or I know, no. Nobody is too busy. Nobody. Like our president or not, he tweets all day long. He is running the country, yet he has time to do 10 or 15 tweets a day. If the president of the United States can tweet that much, any guy on the planet Earth can have time to text you back. There is no reason. There is Wi-Fi everywhere. There are connections to phones. We are not in a place where we do not have time to send a message back. If you are not getting communication, bye-bye. And you know, I'm getting fired up about it, but you don't have to be mad, because I want you to just go, okay, flake. Dang, that's too bad. I mean, just like the guy that brought up porn on my first date. I just was like, I actually felt like all of a sudden like a mama bear to him. I was like, oh, Jonathan was his name. Jonathan, oh, too bad. You're such a good looking guy. You're funny. You got a lot of stuff going for you. He showed me his apartment with his Empire State view. I was like, oh, I would have loved to have gone up to that apartment and had like a romantic moment looking at the Empire State Building, but you had to bring up porn on the first date. Wow. Bye. I'm not interested in the next date with the dude because he's already shown me he's a dirt. You know, it's like, really, dude? Really? I mean, he was just so shocked because I was like, what are you doing? I mean, I actually just said that. Jonathan, what are you doing right now? And then he was like, oh, because he felt like, so are you offended by female nudity? It's like, are you humping my leg under the table? We're having coffee on Madison Avenue or Park Avenue, wherever we were, Birch Coffee. I was like, really? Right now we're doing this? I mean, like, I put on it. Thank God I had plans after, so I didn't put on my cute outfit and walk up there thinking, oh, it's this beautiful day and I'm going to meet this cute guy. Are you offended by female nudity? I was like, am I offended by female nudity? Boy, brutal. It's like, what an idiot. And I literally just stopped it right there. I was like, Jonathan, yeah, you killed it right there. This is really unfortunate. I'm like, you know, he worked for SAP, you know, he had a great job, apartment, lives in Manhattan, tall, good looking. What are you doing? Watching a lot of porn is what he's doing, feeling bad about himself, super insecure, doesn't know how to handle a high value woman because he doesn't value himself. So I can look at him and go, low self-esteem. Right there. Just that comment. If you show up and this is how you speak in front of a woman, you have a low self-esteem. My value is extremely high. Just because Jonathan shows up like an idiot, it doesn't change anything about me. I flitted off down Madison Avenue and the sun was shining, had my coffee in my hand, and bye-bye. He got in a taxi, and I remember just being like, oh, see you later. I mean, we left on somewhat of nice terms because I just was like, yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, but I don't know. I don't even remember how we ended the conversation. I would think I would, but I just remember that moment, like being like, oh, Peanut, as my sister was like, oh, Peanut, did you think that was going to work out at this moment? Like, really? And then what a poor judge of character. Like, you looked at me? You thought a girl like me was going to respond well to that? Really? And it also just shows like guys that are in that mode, they've like stopped. They're in that mode where they've stopped caring. They're like, whatever, I'm just going to say whatever. I don't give a F. You know, so then it's like, okay, so you're in that place where you hate online dating and you've had all these bad experiences. So you're just going to be like porn guy on your dates. Whatever. I didn't let it affect me at all. It's like the funny story I can tell now. So it's like guys that date me, if they end up being Gumball guys, sorry, you end up being material for my dates, or for my content. But it's just like, I just want you to be able to laugh about it. If the guy's like, yeah, I've been really busy lately. You can just roll your eyes like, oh, okay, this is busy guy. Okay, this is the guy that's acting like I'm super important right now. It's like, do you have more to do than the president of the United States? No, you do not. Like, you are not that busy. No one is. Because it's so funny. You can ask busy people what their favorite TV show is and what they've binged on Netflix. And yes, they have said next episode 3 times. So apparently they have at least 3 extra hours a day. Like, we all have time, right? We all do. So that is not an excuse. And I just want you to get in the practice of being like, okay, if you're meeting this guy and he's asked you out, then he is saying, I am making time for dates. Don't make time for a date and then act like you don't have time for dates. What is that? That is ridiculous. So we have to be like, oh, okay, so you're a flake. The end. I mean, I just want you to put him in that category and go, this guy's high liability. And if you want to see him one more time just to test it out, I want you to be kind of thinking, oh, okay, I'll give him another chance, but he's kind of on the wrong side of the 50%. It's like 50% to 100, or is he 0 to 50? He's kind of teetering on 0 to 50 and on the downslide out because he's not showing up. Okay? So I want you to realize that keeping lukewarm dudes in your life, they've got to go. You know how you prune a flower, like you go and deadhead a rose bush and you pull all those blooms off and then all of a sudden the roses really flourish. Keeping a bunch of lukewarm dudes is like a bunch of deadheads on a rose bush. It's just not going to flourish. You will not flourish and you will not be available for the great love that you are worthy of if you have a bunch of dirts in your text inbox. It's my sister and I's word for just like the guy, he's just, I don't know why. You just get dirt or you don't. But you know what I'm saying? Like, get him out, clean it out. And you don't have to have a goodbye. Like, I mean, let's not give these guys that much luxury. It's like, goodbye. You're not even saying hello on a consistent basis. Just block them and move on. Literally just look at it and go, does this guy deserve a conversation? I mean, not really. He's not even giving you the conversation you deserve. So block him. It doesn't matter what I remember I used to think like, well, what if he texts back and be like, well, where are you? It's like, it doesn't matter. This is a person you do not want to talk to for the rest of your life. It doesn't matter. If he's like, well, I just, I really meant to get back to you, but no. Okay. Well, sorry, dude, you lost. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, and I want you to not feel like you have to be like this super bitch. It's not really like that. It's like, I want you to feel like how I did with Jonathan. Like, oh, too bad, Jonathan. You had everything going for you, but then, and then you just block him and move on. I didn't want to hear Jonathan's follow-up text. I don't care what he had to say. It doesn't matter. He needs to be cut clean so that when I move forward and walk out of that coffee shop, Jonathan doesn't get any more dirts in my text message inbox. It's like, bye-bye. No, you don't get back in after you do that, because you've shown me the kind of energy you're going to bring. You've shown me where you are, and I don't have time to entertain that at all. Bye-bye. So at that point, I went on to my dance classes. I went on to dance competition. I went on to creating more content for you guys. I'm sitting here looking out at the East River. Guys, I'm living my dream life. And I only got here because I made those types of decisions. Like, nope, I'm going to get to the point where I finally am in the energy space where I'm making the connections that really fit with me and who I am and the life that I want. And I want this so much for you so that you can because I just know that I know this. And I've seen this with so many clients. The one that you meet that ends up being the one is just fun. And you just go out and you hang out and you talk and they're the one person you want to talk to like all the time, and he wants to talk to you all the time. There's no question. There's no hesitation. There's no like disrespect for your time. They see the value, but you have to see your value first. If you don't see your value, then you're not going to know or recognize, you're not going to be able to understand when somebody is recognizing your value. So when I work with my client, Emily, and I'll tell you, you don't have to be all the way there, because she wasn't all the way there. We connected one last time, and it was almost like I had to push her over the edge. Like, yeah, you really are worthy of this. And it's like she knew it, but she needed to like really solidify that in her mind, because it was overwhelming. So I want to end on this, where I want you to just remember the real thing is like, whoa, this is love. Oh my gosh. What I was getting from Gumball, guys, was nothing compared to this. Is this for real? This guy really, and I want you to have that awe and have that excitement, but I want you to understand that, yes, you are worthy of it, because you have to understand the value you bring to the table. It's so important that you know who you are and what you're giving, so that when you're sitting across from a guy that says something that is so unaligned with who you are, that you know there's absolutely no way that that's going to even come close to building the life that you want. And so I looked at Jonathan, hot guy, young, cute, funny, had great sense of humor. He had all the things. But I knew I don't waste my time on that. And he felt bad. And he was like, I don't really remember everything he said after that, because it was just sort of awkward and stupid. But he was like, he tried to backtrack, and I could tell. I was like, this was a boy who was raised to be different. So his parents would not be proud to see him bring up porn to a girl on a date, because his parents probably want to see him have a family and be married. And he knew he screwed up, and he knew that all of a sudden I set a standard that maybe his parents would have wished he would have lived by, and it was too late. I'm not there to coach you. I can't coach you on values. I don't want to coach you at all. We cannot coach our men. We are looking for alpha dogs. We are looking for the guy he's already standing on top of the hill. He's like, what's up? I'm ready. You need to date the guy that's ready, not that's dragging along stuff and stumbling along and gimping there and licking a wound and crying about stuff and not sure and really timid. No. And you know what? We have to make sure we're not gimping along and crying about stuff and licking our wounds, because how does that show up? It shows up as, I'm not sure if you really like me, and my ex really hurt me, and I have a lot of walls built up, blah, blah. It's like, you can't do that. You guys, we cannot come with a sad sob story and a bunch of negative stuff. That's very negative. If you want a high value, like a high vibe person, then we have to, it's not that we have to arrive perfect by any means, but I want you to arrive ready to experience him, and he needs to arrive ready to experience you. You should be just going on fun dates, doing fun things and laughing. This whole idea of showing up and dumping our junk on people and being like so dramatic and so serious and so like, oh my God, it's like, it's not The Bachelor. Okay. This is real life. And so we want to take, let's leave the hard labor that we have to do with our therapists, with ourselves, with our journaling, join the Back to You Academy. This is where we work all this stuff out and learn to have fun again on dates and have fun in your life. So when you show up on a date, you're smiling. I want you to picture yourself. I'm going to do this. I'm going to have my hands on the back of my head. Like you got your feet up on the desk, get your hands back. Or maybe not. That's kind of like a smug position. But I want you to just lean back in your chair. When you're just relaxed, you lean back in your chair. Imagine yourself on the date. You lean back in your chair. Your legs are crossed and you have the wine glass off the table and you're holding the wine glass and you're smiling and you're nodding your head and you're laughing. That's the feeling I want you to have. Like, you need to know that you're beautiful and you are fun to talk to and you are interesting. You have so much to bring to the table. And the guy on the other side should be enjoying you, laughing with you, listening to you, asking questions, really learning about your life, learning about who you are. Because when we come to the table ready, we are curious. When we are insecure, we're focused on ourselves. And it really squelches curiosity. I might have to dig a little deeper on that one. Curiosity is really a huge thing. Is he curious? And I want you to watch, because sometimes Gumball guys can look curious, but they're really just gathering information. So I just wish I could bottle how I can decipher these things so quickly, just because I've been watching it for a decade and really analyzing. But I've noticed, do you know how people, they just ask a lot of questions, but it doesn't really seem like they're really interested in the response, but they just like, it's like too many questions, too close together, not enough reflection on their part to really absorb what you're saying. I just want you to be mindful. Am I getting rapid fire questions because he's trying to just develop a catalog? Because a narcissist will do that sometimes too, where it doesn't really feel meaningful. And your gut instinct will fire off when this is happening, where you'll really know, okay, this is something that's not really, it's nice, but something feels off. If something feels off, your intuition is telling you, yeah, I like this guy. He seems interested, but it's probably for selfish reasons, and he's not really there to connect. And he's not really there to connect because he's still focused on himself, and he's still bringing a lot of insecurity. So I know this was maybe I didn't really mean for this to be tough. I hope it wasn't too tough on you. But I want you, I feel like this sense of urgency to really get the point across that keeping lukewarm and inconsistent relationships in our lives, things that aren't really leading anywhere. We don't have to be dramatic and mean to these guys or say you're not being consistent or I don't feel like you need to announce to them what they're doing wrong. You can say something like, I'm just looking for something different. I don't really feel like there's a connection, but it was really nice to meet you. I'm looking for something different. And leave it at that. You do not owe him, if you feel like you even owe him that. Some of these guys are showing up so little that you can just block them and move on. And remember, you don't owe him an explanation. You don't have to have a discussion about it. If you've had enough dates where you feel like you have to have a discussion, just say, I'm looking for something a little bit different. You don't have to tell them what they're doing wrong because they showed up and did what they do. I remember saying this for the first time when I started dating, and I was like, when I started dating in New York really is when I started to really put these principles in practice. And I remember saying to this one guy, I need something different. And he was like, well, I thought you really liked me. And I was like, I do, but you have these periods of time where you're just completely MIA. And he was married before, and he was like, yeah, that was the problem in my marriage. And I said, yeah, I'm not the kind of person that can handle that. And he was like, well, I can work on it. And I said straightforward, I'm like, do you really think this is something that you could change in yourself? And he was like, probably not. So there we go. I didn't have to say, I don't really think you like me. I don't really think you're interested. It's like, no, the way that you operate, even though you think it's okay, doesn't work for me. And it not working for you is enough. There's another podcast. Not working for you is enough to walk away. You don't have to, a lot of times you guys, we're trying to convince this guy that it's not working and we're looking for him to say, yeah, you're right, it's not working, so let's move on. Gumball guys will not say that. They want it to linger on forever. They want you to stay there in case there's a Saturday night where they want company and they want you to be the girl that answers their text. So they're going to keep you around. They want you there. And it's because they need all these different backup attention resources for when they get lonely, for when they need something. He wants you there. So he's not going to give you permission to walk away. He's going to always try to convince you to stay, or he's going to try to make it your fault. So it's very liberating to say, this is not what I need. I'm not getting what I need, and I need to move on to something that is a little more aligned with what I'm looking for. And I think you're great, but I'm just looking for something different. And then they can't be like, well, you're just, no, it's like, if they say, well, you blah, 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 blah. Well, I'm sorry you feel that way, but yeah, as I said, I'm looking for something different. I did my part, you did your part. Let them show up and show you what they do. What they do when they show up is who they are. I think we should keep our hands off and go, let's not tinker with that. Let's not mess with the evidence. As soon as we start coaching and teaching, that's when we kind of start to alter the evidence and mess with the crime scene. It's like, no. Keep your prints off of that. Just sit back and watch what he does with no direction. And see, does he have it in himself? Does he take ownership? Does he feel like he needs to respond, follow up, return a text? Is he okay with not doing it? Does he think he can just waltz back in? And he feels completely okay with going MIA, thinking he can be like, yeah, sorry, I was just but now I'm ready for you. So have you been sitting on a shelf waiting for me to come back? Because, like if we had time, I just wish we could punish them. Like, go MIA. Like when he comes back, why don't you feel like you should go MIA for 2 weeks and then respond to him? It's like, but we've been waiting all that time. We're like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad he's back. And yeah, he really does like me. No. He's disrespectful of his own time and of your time. And it shows that there's something wrong there. And you'll find out later. But this is where we have to conquer solitude. We have to conquer loneliness. So we aren't dependent on him for that. We're not filling a void. It's like, you got some issues, bud. So I got to find my alpha. And you ain't it. So bye-bye. Good luck to you. Bye, Jonathan. Hope enjoy your Empire State view, but I ain't going to be there with you. Because I can go find another spot and look at the Empire State and not talk about porn. It's like, I know 100%. I'm not at a loss with saying goodbye to Jonathan because he needed to go find his way. And I hope that maybe that conversation spoke to him and maybe he made some changes. But you know what? Even if he did, I'm still not interested because I know how long that path is for that change. And I'm not willing to get to the bottom of whether or not he's made that change. Because you know what? It's like understanding that somebody is addicted to heroin and they stop doing it for like 3 months. Like, I'm not willing to date a heroin addict because I know that addiction is really difficult to get over. And it's not something that I'm willing to consider as a liability and somebody I'm going to invest long-term in. Does that make sense? So really look at these people and go, okay, based on what I see, what is the recovery time for this? What is the therapy and recovery? What does that look like? What's the time frame? Because in reality, when we see people that have issues, we can tell they have to spend a whole bunch of time on themselves to work that out, right? So I want you to think about that again. They have to spend time working on themselves in order to show up in the relationship. So if we date them and they still need to do that, it means that they need to spend time away from us to work on that because they can't work on it with us, right? So essentially, when you have somebody it's kind of like if you date somebody who's in the hospital, then they have to be in the hospital, right? So you can come see them in the hospital, but they can't go to the movies with you. So when you're dating somebody that has all the stuff they need to work on, you're dating somebody who's in the hospital and they have very limited ability to really spend time with you because they need to work on themselves. And then sometimes they need to be in the hospital and they're not. So they're sitting there with, if emotional wounds were really like physical wounds, we would be like, whoa, dude, you got to go to the hospital. You're like bleeding all over the place. And we wouldn't accept that if it was a physical wound. But because they're emotional, we don't quite understand the gravity and the weight of what we're taking on with these people. And so, and I'm telling you, the hard part is we have to look at ourselves and be like, am I bleeding all over the place? Am I still thinking about my ex? Am I still stalking him on Instagram? Am I still like, where am I? What am I doing with my time, with my life, with my thoughts? And am I allowing myself to be open for the great love that I dream about? Are you preparing yourself in your life? Because do you want to meet a guy who is kind of sort of dating a girl and she texts and they hook up sometimes? Do you want to meet the man of your dreams in that situation? You don't. So we have to, it's hard. It's so hard. Like, I know this sounds harsh, but I'm going to be real with you. Like when you're in that situation and, oh, he's so cute and you have these great conversations and it's like, you feel like, come on, there's got to be something here. Like, we'd said this or we said that. It's really tough to make these clean breaks and make these decisions. So evaluate it. Take your time. You don't have to be in a rush. This is your deal. So this is your life. This is your time. And I'm telling you what, like, I'm about to go in and get, on Monday, so when this podcast comes out, I'm going to get an endoscopy to figure out. I've had my gallbladder out 10, 11 years ago. And I've always had like digestion issues, and I just assumed it was the gallbladder or the lack of the gallbladder. And the pain got pretty severe in the past few days. And I was like, oh man, what if this is pancreas? What if this was pancreatic cancer? I just like went to that, scary thing and thinking, and then I just thought, what if it is pancreatic cancer? And I find that out next week and I have 6 to 12 months to live. Like, what if that is actually the case? It's probably not. I went to the doctor and he said, what you're telling me sounds like stomach issues. It doesn't sound like pancreas, but we're going to do an endoscopy to find out. And so it's scary, right? Like, that's really scary. And so I was talking to my mom and she's like, this is a wake up call because I've just made assumptions like, oh, I have issues with digestion. I'll go long periods of time without anything, but I really probably should have been going to a gastroenterologist, following my own advice. I did all my other checkups, but that was the one that I left out. And it was a wake up call like, dude, you just don't know how much time you have left. And I started thinking about what kind of a book I would write, what kind of life, how would I live if I knew I had 6 months left? What would I do? And all these thoughts came through my head. I was like, oh yeah, I would for sure do that dance competition in November. And I would be like feverishly writing my book. And I would be making sure that you guys know every little thing that I can possibly give you, all the content, all the value, all the red flags, everything I can possibly give. And so I'm just kicking up my intensity a notch because it just woke me up a little bit to think, I feel like I'm probably okay, but if I wasn't, and I'll tell you right now that I have not entertained those Gumball guys. And if I did, it was for a short period of time and I knew how to get away. I knew how to break it off. And there were some that were really tough. But I didn't waste time. I did create content. I did build the Back to You Academy. I did make it to New York. I am continuing to show up every single week for you guys and inside our academy and in my coaching sessions because I didn't waste time. And that's what I want for you. Because if I got the worst news on Monday, I would already know, well, I'm well on my way. I've established my social media. I've established private Facebook groups. I have enough established that I could leave you guys with enough content, should I have to leave this earth, that I would feel okay. And that was kind of a cool thing to know. Like, yep, I have built enough to where I would have enough time to make sure that I left with left you guys with what I need. And it also told me I'm doing exactly what I'm put on this earth to do, because my first thought, yes, it's spend time with my family, but I spend a lot of time with my family. But I know that my mission here is way more than spending time with my family. My mission here is to help thousands and millions of women find authentic love. It's a huge mission. I know what's on my heart. It's been on my heart for a long time. I've known that I've needed to do this. And it's, it's like God chose me, this girl with like low confidence and dating the wrong guy. I just remember thinking like, God, really, me? But I had the struggle to go through. So this is why I can help you, because I know the struggle. Every like little side road that you take that you think is some weird place that you are, I've more than likely been there. And I felt embarrassed about it and felt shame about it. So that's where one of my girls that just came in, I can't wait to tell her story. She made such huge progress, and she gave me the biggest compliment ever, because I said, why do you think you made such huge, and within 1 week, the first week in the academy, I was like, who is this chick? And I asked her, why did you make such big progress? And she said, because all my friends would tell me, you need to break up with them. You need to break up with him. You need to break up with them. What are you doing? You deserve better. And she goes, I wasn't ready for that. And she goes, you gave me the space to be me and allow me to do it in my time frame. And that was the biggest game changer. And she said, now I feel her confidence is up. She's doing her side hustle, and she's quitting this full-time job. She's doing her side hustle. She's like doing all this fitness stuff. I was just like, oh my gosh, look what can be awakened if we're just loved in the right way. And we know. So what I'm saying is I know how to do that. And I don't see anyone else doing it in that way. I see a lot of really good relationship coaches. I'm going to be shouting out some other pages and getting more people on this podcast, because for a while I just wasn't seeing any good content. And now there's just so many great people like Create the Love. Mark Groves, man, he's just killing it. Steven Speaks, love him too. I love seeing men tell us the right things that are really the real deal. So Create the Love, just how it sounds full. Create the Love on Instagram, and Steven Speaks, Stephen Speaks. It's just gold. It's exactly what women need to hear. And I love when men deliver the content, because, as women, it's nice to hear that from men and know that we do need to work on ourselves. We have a lot of similarities in our content, because, attracting love, the real love in all our relationships does get back to loving ourselves. And it's a process and it's a journey. So I really encourage you to fill up your Instagram, your Facebook feeds, your podcast queues with that type of content. So you're always hearing the good stuff, and find other people that you like other than me that can give you some diversity in what you're hearing, so that you develop where it almost becomes like it's your thoughts. So I wanted to leave you on that message of, we never know we never know when we're going to lose our health. Maybe you're having health issues right now. It's just too short to be spending it with somebody who doesn't really see you, love you, appreciate you. And I want you to know that when you're not getting the response you want from the other side, if I can give you anything, is to separate your own worth from that guy's reaction to you. That we have to know that his interaction with us is no reflection of our own worth and value. And so spending time with those guys just depletes your energy, and it makes you question yourself, and it continues to push you in that low vibe, which will then continue to attract the wrong men to you. So the faster you start cutting them out, boom, 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 then your expectation rises, and then you have better boundaries. This is how you create the boundary. The boundary isn't just something, I'm going to create this boundary today. No, it's like, these are those decisions. Like, okay, I've been texting this guy, and you like getting his texts. He's fun. He can be cute. He gives you compliments, but you look at that dead in the face and go, if I got the diagnosis of pancreatic cancer, would I even look at this guy for one more second? No. Really? Gary Vaynerchuk, if you don't know him, he does social media content for entrepreneurs. But he says, I wake up every day and I act as if my mom died, or somebody like the 9 closest people in his life have died, or like what's important, what's valuable, what's meaningful. Keep that in focus. And if this person isn't showing up and really showing value, they've got to go. Because life is too short. Your life is too precious to be spent on that. And you deserve to find that love that is going to be nurturing, that is going to overwhelm you. But I don't want it to overwhelm you too much, because I want you to be ready for it. Okay? So this is to get you ready. Am I preventing love from coming into my life because I'm accepting fraud versions, low frequency versions, or complete knockoffs? Am I accepting Gumball love instead of real love? Because if you keep accepting the Gumball loves over and over and over again, the ones that are feeding you short-term fixes, this is how we become Gumball girls. And I don't really think you become addicted to the attention. You just become satisfied, or you become, it's not satisfied. There's a word for this. Complacent, maybe. There's another word I'm looking for. But we start to accept a different level, and we lower our standard. And that's a dangerous thing to do. So I'm here to just remind you, keep the standard high, because lowering the standard will only let more low-level dudes in, and you're done with that. You're done with it. All right? So we're leveling up for real love, getting ready, preparing that space, prepare your home, prepare your life to welcome love that that doesn't overwhelm you, but makes your cup run over. I'm going to end there, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning into this podcast. I love you so much. I want you to know that this passion comes from just, I don't want any of you to end up in a relationship that steals your life. We're taking our lives back. And I know that it's hard sometimes, but just stick with it. Just keep putting one foot in front of the other. Just keep chugging it out, because eventually you will get there. All right? So the next Back to You Academy starts October 7th, I believe. So if this is like, okay, yes, it's October 7th. We are already in week 2 of the September class. It is going awesome. We have an amazing guest speaker. Kelly Lynn Adams is joining us this Monday. So if you're not in the academy, you're going to miss out. However, we will have more guest speakers and some amazing stuff coming up in the academy in October. So I hope you join. And if you want to get in early, let me know, because these classes are getting, I may have to even start a second class, because I want to keep the groups smaller so that we are able to still have intimate discussion and cover everyone's questions. So if you're not familiar with the academy, every month I'm running an academy: September, October, November, December. December is usually a big month because people are struggling with the holiday stuff. So I'm going to stay with you through the holidays, and it's really, you get all the content. So if you're liking this podcast, we go deep into getting through a breakup, the Gumball guy. So really understanding this concept on a deeper level. So you get those ninja skills where you can detect things very early on to give you that confidence, like I had with Jonathan, to cut the ties and walk away from the hot guy that has, the Manhattan skyline view and the good job and the cute and the tall and blah, blah, blah. How to walk away from that guy knowing that you've made the right decision, and also knowing how to understand what happened with this guy, because your guy is different, right? Your guy is something that maybe I haven't really described, and you need to get to the bottom of that. I think it's really important that you get your questions answered so that you go through and you learn, you get your aha moments. Then you can go through that healing process. If you're going through a breakup, maybe you need to go through a divorce. Maybe this is going to be a little bit longer process for you. Don't worry. After the 30 days, if you're like, Melissa, I still need help, like 30 days isn't going to be enough, you can join our membership right now. through 2019, and I think I'm going to cut this off at 2020, through 2019, you can join our monthly membership for $47 a month. And only through 2019, I will give you one free coaching session per month for the $47, which normally I charge $97 for one coaching session. But I do that for my members that have invested in the academy. They want to stick with me for a few more months to continue with the group coaching, continue meeting with me one-on-one. I'm telling you guys, it's magical. I have a 100% success rate. Girls are getting confidence. They're not going back to Gumball guys. We're talking about Gumball guys in first and second dates, third dates, and they're gone. Like this really does work. I'm so proud of it. It's still surreal to me, but like I said, I'm going at it like, well, what if you were only here for 6 months, 6 to 12 months? Like, what would you do? I would do podcasts like this, maybe even a little bit more energetic, but I don't want to get too, I don't want to get too over the top. I want to still be myself, but you know what I'm saying? Like it's just urgent. So I want you to look at, and the price point for the Back to You Academy is there for a reason, because the girls that put the money in, $497, you can make two payments of two something. It's the girls that put the skin in the game that do the work. So you have to be at a point where you're like, yeah, I'm willing to spend $500 to make sure I never get heartbroken and go through that gut-wrenching pain of yet another Gumball guy. I need you to know that you're worth that much. I need you to know you're worth the monthly membership, and I need you to see the value of those touch points every week so that you see, okay, I need this for myself. I want to be at that place where I feel confident, that I know what I want, that I know who I am. I want to be that person. I want to be who I know I feel on the inside. What other way are you doing it? You know what I mean? Like, if you have another way, let me know what it is. I would love to know. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I want you to take advantage of this, because I don't know what's coming, but I want you to be A, ready for your amazing life, and B, I don't want you to miss the love that's meant for you because you don't feel worthy of it, or you meet some guy and you can't even believe he loves you. This happens. People love people and the other person just can't even take it. So they lose it because they don't feel worthy and they just reject it. They sabotage it. Have you ever done this? Have you ever sabotaged? Have you ever caught yourself doing this? There's reasons we're doing this. I don't want you to do this anymore. We have to put a stop to this because it's ridiculous and you deserve it. You deserve so much more and you're going to get it. Okay? So that's the whole point of this. I want to turn this around so that you're like, oh. So the first week is like aha moment after aha moment. You get all this content. You get the group coaches. You get all group coaching. You get the guest speakers. You get the camaraderie with the girls. And it's so warm and loving and accepting. And as passionate as I get on these podcasts, I'm going to tell you, when we meet one-on-one, I slow way down because I need to meet you exactly where you are. So I'm not going to be like, you need to do this, you need to do that. No. That's not how it works. I meet you exactly where you are. Almost every single time in my coaching sessions, people cry the whole first hour. I don't know what it is, but it's like, I think that so many of us have held this stuff in, and for whatever reason, I offer that space for you to let it out. And when you finally feel like you can let it out, it just comes with the tears. But that's that first step. So I always say, pardon me if I don't have like a huge response to tears. I just know that it's normal. It's just like, okay, yep, this is session 1. We let it all out. I'm like, cry it out. It's okay. I get it. It's so important for you to just let those tears flow because you're releasing so much pent up fears and worries and pain and heartbreak, and you just need a space. Love, give yourself a space to do it. I just can't stress it enough. I wish every single listener could go through this because, oh my gosh, it just turns so many light bulbs on and it strengthens you in so many ways. And I will do everything I can. I'm with you every step of the way to get you through it. All right. So I love you so much. I hope you join us October 7th. I also have a free guide to the top red flags of a gumball guy. So if you have not seen my red flag list, download it now at gumballlove.com. So check that out. And it will, if you can't afford the academy, at least start with that list just to get yourself familiar. So I can't wait to hear from you. If you have questions, reach out to me, Melissa at gumballlove.com. Thank you so much for listening. If you want more information or to schedule a private coaching session, or better yet, to join the next Back to You Academy, go to gumballlove.com. If you loved this podcast, I would love for you to share it with your friends. And if you really loved it, a 5-star review is the best compliment you can give. Remember, you are enough, you are right where you should be, and the only thing you have to do is keep going. I'll leave you with my favorite quote by Henry David Thoreau. Go confidently in the direction of your dreams and live the life you have imagined. Until next time, I'll see you soon.